video. Hey everyone, Justin Hogue. We've got our YouTube channel. We've also got our Instagram page. We get a lot of feedback from families going, hey, what about junior golf? The cost about junior golf. So I'm going to cover, I've mentioned this to several families. I'm going to cover from 8 years old to 10 years old. The cost, kind of a rough cost estimate. 11 to 13 years old, rough cost. 14 to 15, remember we're going from 3 years to 2 years here, and then we'll jump back to 3 years because this is kind of a pivotal time, 14 to 15 age, where the cost for entry fees actually go up when you jump out of this this metric here, because you're attending a lot of U.S. Kids events here. So the cost of a U.S. Kids event compared to these type of events, drastically different, and that's kind of a aha moment for families. They come to me going, wow, why is your entry fee $225 when I've been paying $35 here for U.S. Kids events? That's just what happens. We have not only our events, but you go to AJGA events, or depending on what market you're in, Texas Junior Golf, Legends Junior Golf, the entry fees are going to be $300 and up. That's just the nature of the beast, because you're going against the better players, and you're also achieving rankings on 3 or 4 different platforms and qualifiers tied to those events. So that's where the cost kind of is driven up a little bit. Our events are a little different. We only have 2 events, our Atlanta event and our Dallas event. And I'll go over those costs at the end of this video. I'm going to cover all of these. So 16 to 18 year old, kind of the cost breakdown for that. College and professional, yes, there are costs associated with those as well. I've done several pro formas for professionals when they come out of college and they start into their professional career, wrap a pro forma and a metrics around that of what it's going to cost each month. And it gives them a roadmap of their costs if they get family or partners to help fund their professional career. So I've got that as well. I'll share that offline for anybody that wants that. And then I cover at the very end of this video, it's going to be a little long because I want to cover some pretty good content here. I'm going to cover the event cost. I'll focus on our events because I know those. I know the other people's events as well and what it costs to run their events. So I'll cover that in some detail. A lot of it's proprietary, and if you own your own event or if you own your own tour or independent event, your costs are going to juggle because different things you add to the event, different things you give away, things of that nature. So that will all be covered later on in this video. But first, we're going to cover 8 to 10 year old age group. So let's cover that first. Pardon my southern towel for an engineering perspective, but we're going to use a towel and a little marker here. Very low cost environment. So 8 to 10 years old, you're going to pay U.S. Kids events and some independent events, but more than likely you're going to have your costs associated. Remember, this is 3 years. So we're going to have 3 years that we cover here. Your U.S. Kids events are going to run $35, $25 to $35. We're going to use the high end $35 as a cost. So you multiply that times, let's say 10 events a year. And so that's 30 events for the 3 year period. So 30 events, and then you have, so that's roughly 350 a year. So that's 1,050 for those events for a 3 year period. Okay, so that's 1,050. Then you have your memberships to a club, your lessons, your golf clubs. Because if you're growing from 8 to 10 years old, you're going through golf clubs from a U.S. Kids. Luckily, that cost structure is lower. So changing U.S. Kids clubs is a lot. Even though it's expensive, it's a lot less than when you get into regular size clubs. So let's say a membership and lessons, travel, equipment, and those things add up to about, what I have figured at about $20,000 a year. So that's $15,000 for membership and equipment and lessons, and then your time and your travel associated with it. So roughly 5. So 15 and 5, so $20,000 a year. So you're looking at a 3 year period of about 63 grand is what you're going to have. So 63K, what you're going to have for this 3 year period. Okay, so $63,000 is what you're going to have as expenses for 8 to 10 years old playing U.S. Kids events. That's going to go up, obviously, and that's where people come to me and they're like, wow, it's already an expensive environment. Does the cost go down? Unfortunately, it doesn't. So we're looking at, let's go 8 to 10, 63K. So, okay. So then we go to, let's get this off of here. Then we're going to go to 11 to 13, okay? 14 to 15. We dropped that because that's where travel really picks up. At 14 to 15, we'll do a 2-year period there, and then 16 to 18. I'm kind of breaking this down by age groups because when you play in an event, those are kind of the age brackets that you'll have, and then you'll have college golf, and then you'll have professional. Okay, so we'll cover these 3 metrics. So the next thing that we have is you're jumping into 11 to 13. You're traveling a little bit more if you have some kind of status built up, and at 12 is kind of where ranking starts to pick up. Yeah, they will rank you around 10 on Junior Golf Scoreboard, but really from a college perspective, now the NCAA rule changes, coaches aren't recruiting down into the 8 and 10, 12-year-old age group like they were before the rule changes. Now they have to wait until you walk in your junior year, September 1st of your junior year, before, that's kind of a baseline, before they really start recruiting you and they can have that two-way communication. So 11 to 13, you're playing more events, costs go up a little bit more. You're still, what I have my notes over here. So still roughly for 11 to 13, you're gonna average a little bit more. So I picked it up to about 66K, and that still covers your membership, your lessons, your equipment, your travel, your entry fees. That's still playing a schedule of about 30 events in a 3-year period. If you play more than that, obviously the cost goes up. If you travel more, let's say you play US Kids, you get into state events, you get into regional events, and you go overseas and play in their international events, obviously those costs go up quite a bit. But I think on an average, I've been doing this for 27 years. So I have a pretty good idea from a cost breakdown of each element of golf. So this is what I have. I've done probably 4 months of research of breaking this down. You can also go to Google and probably search this as well. So 66K, 11 to 13 years old. Yes, you've already paid for 2 full ride scholarships to college before they turn 14. So keep that in mind. So 14 to 15, we're breaking it down to 2 years. And if I went through my notes, I've got 6 pages of notes. So if we went through all of that, this would be a 20-minute video, and nobody wants to listen to me that long. So we're going to do it at a high level, top of the waves, and give you an idea so you can kind of absorb what's ahead of you in your golf, the maturation process for golf, and a cost structure. So 14 to 15, 2-year period. You're playing more events. Now you go from the $35 to $100 or $150 entry fee in these 2 brackets. You jump up to $150 as your baseline. Yeah, you can still play some of your all-star events for US Kids, and then you can still play your section events for, let's use North Texas chapter for instance. You can play their all-star events, and I think it goes through 15. It could even go higher. I don't pay much attention to them. I don't have time. We run our 2 events a year, and then we obviously have family and events we play in other sports. So 14 to 15, and trust me, this cost is probably just the same on baseball, tennis, or whatever else it is. So it's just, unfortunately, it's just the world we live in. You have the appreciation value of properties, costs go up on golf courses, memberships, everything is a cost factor, unfortunately, for parents. So 14 to 15, I have 20 events played, 10 a year. Membership's still the same in a club. Equipment goes up a little bit because you're going to grow from 13 to 14 to 15, but you're still breaking it down to a 2-year period. So I've got roughly $41,000 for that 2-year period is what you're going to pay. That's a rough cost, a little less than these because it's a 3-year versus a 2-year. Then we get into 16 to 18. Yes, you're still going to have some growth, some equipment changes, lessons. If you're ranked in the top 500, you're grinding it right here. So 14 to 18, you're traveling. Your entry fees are much higher. So we have our 2 independent events. And if I was in it to truly make money, because we have so many layers of qualifiers and Golf Week ranking, Global Junior Golf ranking, AJGA performance-based guaranteed in certain age groups, Junior Golf Scoreboard ranking, and when you have all of those, you can charge more because you're getting more out of it from a player perspective. We also have IMG qualifier, North American Junior Am qualifier, Optimus International qualifier for the North Texas chapter. So when you have all of those, you can charge more, but we don't. I understand this from a cost perspective. If we were doing it to make money and that's what the goal was, I would charge $400 per entry. We don't, we charge $225. And I will break that down here shortly on what our event costs are, and you can see exactly what we made in our event. So you have an idea, okay? And you can also see what other people make just by doing the true, simple math around it. So 16 to 18, costs going up, going back to 3-year costs. So you're looking at 3 years, roughly using this cost structure because it's going to be very similar. So 14 to 18 cost structure is going to be replicated on your 16 to 18. So 41,000, you're adding a little bit more to that. So for the 3-year period here, you're going to have roughly 123,000. Actually, did I do my math on that correctly? So what's 41? And so, sorry, I was wrong on that. So 41, so it's 20.5, so you're adding another 20.5 to that. So 60, let's say 63K on this one as well. I had it wrong on my notes. So roughly, I added all those together. That's why my notes were wrong. But you're getting another 63K here. You've learned how to cut costs, but you're still traveling and you're still playing events. So here's your costs before you get to college. Yes, you've paid for multiple scholarships, multiple years of frustration and travel, but that's kind of the cost breakdown. What I have, actually this is 68, I see it now. So 68 because of the cost increase in entry fees. So 63, 66, 41, 68. So there's your total cost breakdown for junior golf. It's quite expensive. When you get into college golf, you're going to start talking about, well, I thought because the kid got into college and got a scholarship, there's no more costs associated. That's wrong. I've had many families come to me going, holy crap, I thought because they got in college and they got a golf scholarship, even though it's a 85% or 60% or 40% or walk-on or a true 100% golf scholarship, that's the 1%ers that are getting 100% scholarships, by the way. Most colleges, an 85% scholarship is considered a full ride, just so we're all on the same page. So getting into college, the kids still have to play a summer schedule. I know that there's some stipends and some things that colleges are creative with that they can use some of those monies and the kids can actually move those funds, and instead of paying for lodging if they're shared or if they got that covered, they can use those stipends and they can cover some of their summer scheduling. But for the most part, what I have scheduled for a summer schedule, a kid playing in college, you're going to spend anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 a summer, condensed window, for their golf travel and expenses. Entry fees for those are going to range from $350 to $800, depending on what they're playing in. So you're still going to have a cost. So college, you're going to have $8K a year times 4, so $32K just for college. So you had all that up, you got $32K on top of, a scholarship. Let's say the scholarship is, let's say you're getting a scholarship and it's going to pay you, what do I have here? On average, a scholarship, I looked at it online as well. On average, a scholarship is 45K is what a full ride is. So 45K times 4. So that's what your scholarship's going to cover. And then you're going to have ancillary costs around that. So 32K for college. And then when you get to a professional, you're like, it's funny. We have, 80 million players in golf and 245 tour cards. So 80 million players, 245 tour cards. And that means 1 in 326K make it on tour. So that is 0.0003%. So that's a very small number. Looking at that, looking at your cost structure, don't get away from golf. It's an expensive sport if you can afford it. So when you get into professional golf, what I have done for players, it's gone up. I think the first pro forma I did for Travis was 2007, and it was roughly 120 to 140,000. That number has obviously gone up from inflation and several other costs just playing golf. This number right now is 180 to 200. So you're looking, we'll use the low one. So 180K per year is what you're going to have to come up with to play professional golf if you don't have status. And to build your status, that's what you're going to have. Okay. So real top of the wave for everybody This is essentially what you're going to pay for junior golf, college golf, depending on what your scholarship is. That's going to cover your golf. And let's say a scholarship, they're going to get to play at a handful of golf courses for free. So your membership can be reduced. A lot of things based on if you play as a family or not. But your cost can go down when you get in college, no doubt. Your costs go way down, and a scholarship covers that. But let's say you only got a 40% scholarship. This cost is probably going to go up because you're wanting to play more to get better status, to get a bigger scholarship each year. And you have to earn that scholarship each year. That's what a lot of people don't understand. That scholarship is 1 year. You have to earn that scholarship for year 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So that's kind of a cost breakdown for golf. I'm going to go over real quick. I hope everybody gets a pretty good understanding of this. And I can send this along with my notes for anybody as well. But this, I want to give you kind of a cost breakdown of what an event costs. So I'll use our events because other events charge more, some charge less, depending on what it is. But with comparison to what we do, because we have 4 qualifiers on ours, 4 quals and 3, or actually we have 4 quals and 3 rankings, 4 rankings, and AJGA guaranteed on certain age groups. Okay, so when you have all of this, usually the entry fee is going to be $300 to $500. 2-day event. Okay, that's what, let's say a peer of ours in the industry, they're probably, let's just use AJGA, not to harp on them at all. Huge organization, big supporter of theirs. It's a great platform. If you can make exempt status on AJGA, you have a really good road ahead of you. So I know everybody's chasing the stars. That's just part of the world we live in. That's the metric, so that's what they're chasing. Let's say you pay $400 for a 2-day event. 2-day event, okay, the golf course is free to them. And the sponsor is picking up their other costs. So that $400 goes directly to the AJGA, okay? That's their, from a P&L perspective, that's their profit, okay? Let's use our event for an example, okay? Let's use the Junior Golf Championships. Where are we at on time, Austin? 17 minutes? Wow, I can talk a lot, can't I? So this is important. So Junior Golf Championships, $225 fee. Okay, I have mine broke down because I know what the costs are. We're playing a top 100 course. Top 100 course. It's 60, and we're playing on a weekend, unfortunately. I wish I could play during the week, but we don't. We play during school year. So that's times 2, so that's 130. Right? And then you have tax on top of that. So you're looking, I think my cost when I did it was 140.75 per player. Okay? We charge $225, keep that in mind. So we have a hard cost of 140.75 times that. Let's just use 100 players. We had more than that. So that's a $14,750, okay? That's a hard cost right off the top. That doesn't count trophies, flags, marketing, labor, what else we got? The qualifiers. So a lot of qualifiers, a lot of people don't know this, but like we charge the $225, 15 of that $225 actually go to Optimus International, IMG, or other ranking platforms or qualifying platforms in order to keep those as part of our event. So when I added all that up, I had flags, trophies, marketing, office supplies, printing, qualifiers. I had 4,300 in those, and then the qualifiers I had 1,800 is what was paid into those, and then we had labor and giveaways. Those were 1,500. So that's where we're at on that. So all of that total with this and this, what I had was 21,675. Okay, that's our hard cost to run Junior Golf Championship event for 100 players. Okay, 21,000. Doesn't take a whole lot of math to do 225 times 100 players equals, what was it, 2250? 2250. So less than $1,000 is what was profited off of this event. Actually, $825, I think is what. Well, yeah, $825. So $825. I put 6 months of time into it, a whole lot of effort, and we get $825 off of it. There's nobody on the planet that would want to run a business like that. So we don't do it for the money. Now, if we charged $400, that would be a direct input to the bottom line, but that's not the case. So that gives you kind of a cost breakdown of what we charge, what we have to pay, and what you guys. And here's another thing. This number here, this top 100 course, 2 weeks prior to the event, everybody waits till the last minute to enter. It happens. It always happens. 2 weeks prior to the deadline, that's when everybody enters. Well, that's also when I have to give a hard number to the golf course, or anyone has to give a hard number to the golf course 10 days out, 2 weeks, of what you're guaranteed to pay them to lease the golf course. So I hope this was helpful for everyone. I know I ran a little long, and it's really hard to listen to me that long. Trust me, just as my wife and my kids. So we appreciate your time and effort and your support. If you have any other follow-up questions, please reach out to Justin Hogue Golf. Have a great year.